Alright, now I'm just hitting y'all over the head with some more evidence of how they already know what's to come, especially with these new viruses that they got coming out, these new flu-like symptoms that they're creating in their labs, and they're coming out with it into the world. Alright, so let's look into this movie. This movie is called this movie right here I got on the screen. It's called Day of the Dead, of how the government puts it all out there for us in these movies to understand what's going on, what to look for, and how to break it down. So we're going to break it down together, because they've been showing us, especially in these movies for years, what would later on be real life events that affect us, period. For example, they've been showing us in every outbreak movie, the virus first starts off as having us having a cold or flu-like symptoms, and then it ended up being originated from an infected animal first, usually tested by the government scientists for bioweapons implications and things like that. Movies like 28 Days Later, they did test on lab monkeys, 12 monkeys, lab monkeys. Contagion, poultry, you know, the chicken was infected. Mulberry Street, the New York rats was infected. The movie Outbreak, it was a monkey that was brought from overseas that got infected the humans through a bite. The Crazies, the government tainted the water supply. So all these movies, you know, it's like they have the same scenarios. You know, you got the scientists first working on stuff in the labs, whether it be food supply, water supply, or animal testing, and it ended up being spread, somehow being released to the public. This seems to be the common theme. Alright, so in this town, it has been quarantined out of nowhere to us, the viewers. But some characters in the movie explain or ask about the flu being the reason for the town being under martial law. But the military and the civilians were told that it was just a national emergency drill. This flu wasn't introduced in the beginning, which was done intentionally to get the viewers to engage with the characters, because it's through the characters they explain how the pandemic begins, and they fill in the blanks to what's going on, to certain important things within the movie. So it's important and vital to listen to what some of them has to say, especially this man right here. Okay, we're gonna listen. This man is a radio jock for the town. He's a radio man. So the military are strategic. They went to the military man so they can broadcast, so he can broadcast for the military to the people what's going on, so they can minimize panic. Okay, so let's see what he says.
Time, when the man gives them to me, I'll give them to you. And now, some more inane bull stuff.
I never thought I would get
So, as a cog in the military-industrial complex, are you capable of independent thought?
Sir, my orders are to relay the information to you so you can pass it on to the public.
This ain't about that flu thing, is it?
You heard him? So he said, this ain't about that flu thing, is it? They know, alright? It's called population control. This is one of the pages out of the New World Order book. This is a part of their plan. Okay? Let's go to 14 minutes and 19 seconds. Look.
And you didn't check on her? I check on her every day. That's a lot more than some people. Get over it, Trevor.
Alright, this is another character, the military woman. She's going upstairs to check on her mother.
Hey, Mom.
Her mother's sick.
Sarah. I don't know when you were coming.
Check out the symptoms.
I guess you were too busy to call. How are you feeling, Mom? I'm okay. No, you're not. You're burning out. Please, you have more important things to do than worry about me. What are you doing? I'm taking you to the hospital. Boy, silly. It's just a cold. I took some vitamins. Mom, I'm taking you to the hospital, okay? Let's get you dressed.
Okay, so the mother of the military woman is laying in the bed sick. She thinks it's a common cold. What she displays is sore throat, coughing, runny nose, respiratory problems, and fever as the first stage of the virus. Alright, so it gives off the impression of a cold, a common cold. So let's see what else we got.
Dad's left a dozen messages. They're at the hospital.
How long has Mom been sick?
Since this morning, it's a cold. Everyone's got it.
So you see what she said. She asked her brother how long his mom been sick. And the brother replies, since this morning, it's a cold. Everyone's got it. So it's nonchalant the way he's, going about this. Like, whatever, she has a cold, she'll get over it. But this is how it's first introduced. This is like now, you remember, President Trump 2 days ago declared national emergency, and people think it's a game, but there are things that come along with that. Your rights are canceled indefinitely. Your constitutional rights and your rights as an American citizen, whether you were born here or naturalized here as a legit citizen of United States. All those rights are taken away, man. We in a time of emergency. It's just that we're not getting the full effect yet. That's why I believe there's more to come. Let's move on. Let's move on to let's go to 1449. No, I'm sorry. Let's go to 2256. Okay. Damn, I keep 2256. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch this thing. Okay. A little bit off, but we'll get back on track.
You've had quite a night.
You could say that.
About the bodies. You said they looked like they were mauled. Could it have been an animal attack?
Now she's at the hospital, and everyone at the hospital is coughing and sick, signifying the spread within crowds and large groups. So this is basically with this corona thing now. They're telling us to don't be in a crowd more than at least at most 10 to 20 people. These crowds, it spreads the disease, the virus, much quicker. So let's listen, because there's going to be a man in the bed, and I want you to listen to what he has to say.
But if an animal can hide a body in a closet.
The son is missing.
Yes.
Did the wounds look like bite marks?
What?
It's a simple question.
How would I know?
Maybe it's the avian flu.
What?
You heard what he said? This man says maybe it's the avian flu. Alright, let's listen to what else he has to say.
Dad, seriously, that's so not possible. I heard about this case in France where...
Alright, so he's about to he's about to mutate. So he says maybe it's the avian flu, and they said it's not even possible. Why is it not possible? The avian flu is aka also known as the bird flu. And in order to get this virus, you have to come into direct contact with the infected animal, the bird, or touch an infected surface of that bird or the bird's droppings. But it's most highly contagious when in poultry, when in chicken, when you eat that chicken and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that's messed up because I love me some chicken. I cook it all the time and all that. So the way I see it is like, maybe this is why they're coming out. The government is also has been pushing for a few years now, going heavy supporting veganism, because they might know something that we don't about this poultry and all that. It's carrying these bird flus and these viruses that's coming out now, and they probably had a head start on it, and it took a while to trickle down. The yin and the yang effect, man. They could give us the bad and the good as well, So the man says, alright, I'm done with the clips, but the man says that he thinks he has the avian flu, and they said, come on, that's not even possible. And he says there was one case in France, and before he could finish his sentence, he started to mutate. But what struck me was the case in France he was about to explain. You see, France was hit hard by the coronavirus, and they went into full-scale shutdown and national emergency mode. They quarantined people to their homes. Schools and business traveling, etc., was shut down. They had to stay in their homes. So these bastards already know these things would come to pass. They planned it to bring it to. They planned it to bring in new laws and a new world order. Alright, so we just gotta get right, stay in the spirit of the Most High, and enjoy your loved ones. Ain't no telling what's here tomorrow and what's tomorrow gonna bring for any of us now. So we gotta embrace each other now. Alright? So yeah, you know, they know about these things because you remember in 2011, President Obama, he signed the National Defense Authorization Act, granting unlimited power to the commander-in-chief, which is any president, right? And long arms of the law like FEMA in the time of national emergency. Obama said live, "Don't worry, I'm not going to be the one to activate it." So within these thick files of this Authorization Act, it breaks down how, you know, citizens and non-citizens alike can be held indefinitely without a trial. All they have to do is label you as a domestic threat, and it's over. So in the time of national emergency, the constitutional rights, as I said, as an American, and the amendments are suspended indefinitely. Once activated, we no longer have any rights, because the rights we are given, us the slaves, at birth or when we legally naturalized as certified citizens of the United States of America through the Social Security card, will become void. You and I are owned by these people. Alright? So fast forward, Donald Trump declared the coronavirus in the United States as a national emergency with the Coronavirus Task Force. Remember, in 2011, the CDC had a zombie apocalypse ad, and they had full training on engaging zombies. Zombies is the term for the downplay. What they've really been preparing us for all these years is not for the zombies, but more realistically speaking, infected people. The infected. They spend millions on combat infected outbreak scenario on city streets, armed men going up against hordes of infected in train stations and on trains. They had the video on this on the CDC webpage and all that. You can still look it up. The webpage for the zombie ads is still up. They really want us to prepare like an apocalypse is coming at our doors. But I get it though. It's all in the benefit of depopulating the world for their ushering of the New World Order. Like I said, they've been showing us this for years, and the blueprint is in these movies. You just look at it. Alright, the man said, you know, are you capable, even though you're a cog in the military industrial complex, are you one to talk freely? Can you talk freely? And he said, is this about this flu thing? You know, this isn't about this flu thing, right? This is exactly how they tend to bring it in, man. This is part of it. This is their way of rushing us into this thing, you know, getting us to give into this thing through fear. May the Most High Creator bless us.